Hello and welcome to Sunshine Sessions. I'm your host Riddhi Patel, the founder of Sunshine Lab. At Sunshine Sessions, we promise to bring you all informative podcasts with experts in various fields when it comes to parenting and your children's learning journey. In light of that, we have three guests today, which is a panel of experts. The first guest is Mansi. She runs Kaleidoscope, which is a phonics based learning center. The second guest is Manani. She runs Rhythm and Rhyme, which is music and movement based learning center. And then third, we have Parini from Fun Lab. She runs these classes, which are great for children, which are STEM based, very in line with what we do here also. And that I think is geared towards inquisitiveness, etc. So we'll let y'all tell us more about what you do individually. So if we could start with you, Mansi.
Yes, thank you, Riddhi, for having all of us today. I'm Mansi and I'm an educator. I run a phonics institution. It's post-school activity center. We start from 3.5-year-old, and phonics is something which is always fun for younger kids who are 3.5-year-old. Seeing them being motivated to read, connect sounds, it's always exciting for me. And yes, looking forward to talking with you all today.
I'm Manini. I run Rhythm and Rhyme, which is a music and movement class in Ahmedabad. So basically, my age group is 6 months to 2 years and 2 plus to 5 years. So basically, it's an infant and toddler program which I run. And basically, we teach different activities with music. And yeah, kids learn a lot through observation and instruction, which is very amazing at this age. And yeah, I'll just pass it on to Parini now.
Hi, I'm Parini. Thank you so much, Riddhi, for having me here today. I basically run the Fun Lab, which is an after school STEM program. Now, most of you all might not know what is STEM, so I'm going to give you gist about it. So STEM is an abbreviation of science, technology, engineering, art, and math. So basically, I came across this concept a few years back. It has been very popular world over. When I was going through it, I realized that not many people are doing anything about it over here for this particular age group, which is 3 to 6 years old. So I was very intrigued by it and I thought I would take it up. So my core goal was to, embed all 5 aspects of STEM through play, curiosity, observation and exploration, and of course make a curriculum which is appropriate for this age group. And luckily all parents have accepted it well because it was a very new concept and it's been going well.
All right. So thank you for introducing yourself. Now we're going to start with a list of questions that are directed to each one of you, and then we'll do more of a group discussion, right? So now I'm going to start with the first question. That's for you, Manani. Now I want you to tell me a little bit about why music and movement for kids, or what is it? A little bit more for viewers to understand what exactly you do in your class.
So as we go ahead, I would like to tell you that basically music is a therapy for all kind of individuals. So be it from infants, toddlers, or any elders. Now, if we focus on an age group of 6 months to 2 years, a lot of parents ask me, what is a infant going to learn out of the class? So basically, we do sing along songs, we do action songs, we do circle time with the parents, we have a lot of props, so we do activities with it. The whole class is with music. So basically, even if the small kids, the small infants, if they don't do any actions, but at least just being in the class observing, they are going to enjoy every bit of it. Plus this is a first class, a child would do it, and a mother would do it with the kid. And school, if they go to a school, it feels like a big setup for the parents. And this is just once a week learning class, so they would basically start with it. It's in a closed environment where the kids are safe, and it's a class for approximately an hour, so which is more than enough for small kids like that.
Okay. So a little bit from I even we'll love to give some input. So my daughter's done your
Yeah.
class and her child, and so when we came to the class, this is from our end. We saw that whatever they did in your class, they took that back home.
Yeah, so it
And
is
they-
very surprising to see that the kids learn a lot by just observation, and they follow a lot of instructions, which we feel at a very young age would they do it.
Yeah.
But it's very, very surprising to see that they learn a lot out of it. And yeah, so basically they learn a lot out of it. And also we focus on their fine motor skills, their gross motor skills, their coordination, balance. The kids are almost of the same age around, so they learn how to socialize with the same age kids. So it's good for the kids to be in an environment like that.
Okay. All right. The next question. I think we've answered this, but
Yeah.
what would an infant learn from rhythm and rhyme?
So, as I said, even if they don't learn anything, music is a therapy for the child. So, eventually they are going to enjoy. So, it's like an activity which they are doing with same age of kids. Also, in this age, people are staying in a nuclear family. So, they don't have kids in and around of the same age. If they join a class like that, they find kids of their same age. They learn to share, socialize, and be in the same environment. Also, a lot of parents are working these days. So, being it a mother and a child program, the parent also connects with the child. And this is 1 hour of non interruption for the parent as well.
That makes
Yeah.
sense. Now, all right, we'll proceed with Mansi now.
Thank you.
So the question to you is, in a classroom setting with diverse learners, how do you ensure that all the students are progressing with their phonics skills?
So I'll tell you, with this age group, when they start, it's a very systematic and structured process, right? So we introduce letter sounds to kids. That's how they connect individual letter sound to a word. Now, it is a very, very delicate process wherein we keep on revising things with them. Our structure is not like a free play. We usually have 1 hour class wherein first 10 minutes we focus on vocabulary building. Another 10 minutes is about letter sound introduction. So I have to divide my classroom into 10 minutes different activities because this age group tends to get diverted like that. This age group wants different things. So we have to make learning very exciting for them. Coming to evaluation, like I tell you, it's a gradual process. It's a yearly program. So first, for example, when they're coming in the class, first 7 to 8 minutes, I focus on the revision to make sure whatever has been taught during the previous months, it sticks to them because our classes are very much connected to each other.
Okay.
And I also feel that when parents are enrolling their kids at the end of the year, they expect something out of their child.
Yeah.
So that's what we focus upon, motivate kids to read at early age. It's very exciting when you see 3.5-year-old, 4-year-old reading words,
Yeah.
going back home. So it's a lot of fulfilling process, if you ask me.
Okay. All right. So the second question to you, Karni, is how do kids respond to science experiments?
Kids actually love science experiments. The whole approach here that I'm providing is not just science experiments, but they come looking forward to it. So that is their key point to, come to the class. They love science experiments. They love exploring with all materials given. They just find it wow when the interaction is usually very theatrical with bubbles coming out or fizz coming out or something going up and down. So they love it. And we make sure that in most sessions, we give an individual apparatus to each child. So each child gets a chance to perform the experiment on their own. And they definitely learn a lot in this process. As I talked about, they learn to share, they learn to do some problem solving, they learn social skills by doing teamwork and collaborative work. They learn a lot of vocabulary. For example, they do this experiment of baking soda and vinegar a lot where the lava comes out. So even if you show them a mountain, like, oh, where's the lava? So even a 3-year-old knows that terminology. So, and that gets imbibed in their brain. We do a lot of reduce, reuse, recycle to imbibe the climate change and promote green vehicles. We did a paper making workshop, like making recycled paper from scratch. The kids had to tear the newspaper, put it in, soak it in water, and I have a small, like a kiddie paper maker with they could roll the paper. So basically, we are trying to teach them out of the box things because we cannot go in that rote learning right now. The whole scenario of education has changed, and we have to give them everything hands on. They are not, if I just explain to them how to make recycled paper, they're not going to understand. We made it in front of, they made it by themselves. So they understand. Now they understand the whole concept of, reusing things. Yeah, so that is one. Then this Paris Olympics it hit the roof. They enjoyed so much and they started following the games at this early, 3 years old. We played some classroom in house. We made up games we did, and then I showed them a small clip about how you can win medals. They all got a medal to take home, and that whole session was it was not really science, but they learned so much out of it. The whole process of winning and losing, and cheering for a particular country or the team, etc. Also learning all the sports.
So it's beyond. It's
beyond.
For all of you are getting
Correct.
like from the firecracker thing to this.
Yeah,
it's
so
beyond
that also, when we do this climate change workshop, we get
calls from parents that they are telling me we don't want to have a shower, we want to have a bath in a bucket. They are telling me I
Wasting
want
water, yeah.
not to waste
Yeah.
water. We want to we'll bicycle to Parni auntie's class, or we'll we or you have a green number plate. We want a electric vehicle.
Yeah.
Something like so. They
Yeah.
they become
They understand. It's very early.
good because ultimately we have to start them young. They are the future. They are going to face all the problems in the future.
Of course.
And whenever it is
Yeah,
Solutions
exactly.
as well as problems for parents for the right kind of problems.
And whenever it is out from and whenever it is said from someone whom they love, they 100%
Yes.
abide by that. Yeah.
To change,
Correct.
right? They want to-
Yeah, they always want to believe they are favorite people. So
And at least in future, they have some sense of responsibility that, they've seen it, they've learned it probably.
they are the future.
So at a
Yeah.
later, in the future time, they at least have this thing that the situation that triggers, they are very well aware about
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Very,
It's
very
so since we are starting them young, but be it planting trees, be it being conscious about the climate change, everything.
All right. So that's all. So now this going back again to your fields a little bit, and I think after that we're almost at our end. What is it that parents can expect from what you all do? The key learning point, of course. And this goes exactly as we spoke out of your course, but exactly in your course, if we were supposed to jot it down and say, this is the key learning that you can expect. Because a lot of parents, I'm sure that's the most annoying question that you might get because there's so much that you do, right? But parents always want to measure. So if it came to measurability, that this is what you can expect at the end of my course, be it a minor thing or a major thing, what is that?
Our classes are very much divided into age groups. So we have nursery, junior KG, senior KG. So the curriculum is structured in such a way that, when we have open house, parents are told that the end of the year for a nursery child, your child will be able to recognize letter sounds, will be able to write. At nursery, we also focus upon their pencil grip development, right? For junior KG child, it's about how will they end up writing sentences at the end of the year? How will they start reading words? Senior KG and grade 1 is more about grammar that I usually focus upon. So, like I said, it's a very structured program. And when we start from nursery, it's always nice when I see that what wonders phonics have done, how it helps kids to start learning, motivate them at a very young age. So, like I told you, our results vary from age group to age group, and it's catered as per kids. See, in a classroom of 6 to 7 kids, all kids are not same, right? So you have to deliver individually and you have to give that one-to-one attention to them. So we evaluate on the basis of their progress, and that's how parents are in touch. They know, they are very well aware. The parents nowadays, they are in touch with us and they are aware about what has been done. So we keep them in the loop when how the progress happens.
The key learning.
Yeah, so basically, a lot of my age group is from 6 months to 2 years. So a lot of parents, I get questions from them asking, what a 7-month-old is going to learn? What a 8-month-old child is going to learn? They are too small. So basically, the kids are very sharp. The more you introduce them to, the more they are going to learn. So it's never that they are very young or they are very big. There is no appropriate age to any music and movement program. So basically, the kids learn a lot just by observation. So that is the key point which I tell the parents. The second thing is, even if they don't do any action, what I show them, but just being in the class also, they are going to learn a lot of things by their observation. They start following instruction within a few classes. So basically, the class is going to have an impact on a infant child also. Also, I get a lot of questions from the parents that my child is, has delayed milestones or, something like that. So I always tell them that is completely okay. Every child is different. It's not that all 13 months old child would walk. All 13 months old child would run. So basically, all the kids are different. They take their own time to progress. Even if they have delayed milestone, that is completely okay because they have to learn from what I show them. They don't have to see what the other kids are doing. Everybody has to look at me and do the things. So they eventually learn. So they don't have to worry about any delayed milestone also. I have a lot of kids who have Down syndrome. They are autistic. but those kids also have so much fun in the class, and I'm amazed to see them that they get really happy with music around, different props around, that they are even keen and happy to come to the class. So there are exceptions, and that makes you feel really surprised and amazed when you see them.
So for us, we do have a structured program, but we don't have a set milestone like a phonetic class. What we do here is we give them endless opportunities to explore. So basically here, what is building is their creativity at some point and their problem solving skills and the confidence to do things by themselves. So at initial phase, we'll probably explain to them what to do. Now, if we repeat that experiment, they already know what they're supposed to. So they remember and they are able to do it on their own. Same happens with the art. When they are really small, they start on their own. We tend to help them for everything. But by the end of the course, this is proximate that they know basically the flow of the class and they tend to do things on their own. That is the basic outcome I want out of them, to be independent.
So I would like to add to Parini's that parents are the ones who want new things to happen with the kids. But kids get so happy when you repeat an activity that repetition makes them feel secure that, oh, wow, this is what we have learned before, that things make the kids really happy. So repetition has to be there in any
So it's more
class.
like revision,
Yeah,
right?
revision,
Like, didn't we all need that revision? It's also
Exactly.
about how you reiterate with them, right?
Of course.
So they are very well aware.
Yeah.
It goes into their mind, and that's nice.
So,
They always
yeah,
look
so
forward to it.
for example, if I would say that Wheels on the Bus, I play Wheels on the Bus. People feel that how many times we are doing the same song again and again. But whenever I put Wheels on the Bus, there is a different smile and happiness on the kids' face because they are they connect it to the song so well. So it is like that. Yeah.
All right. So the last question: what is it that you love most about what you do? What keeps you motivated, and how do you see yourself continuing in this direction as you are?
So I feel as an educator, we have to keep innovating. So like Manini said, we have to do a repetition, but we also have to bring up new things to the table. Then only you'll have continuity of the same. Like I and Manini have short workshops as compared to Mansi, hers is a yearly program. So for me, it is probably a 10 or 15 session workshop. After that, maybe those kids would repeat or they would not come. So for me, it's a challenge to bring up new things every time. Now I have a whole bunch of kids, about 10, 12 kids who are coming to me since past 2 to 3 years. So for them, I cannot do the same thing
Again and again.
repetition again. Or probably if I'm repeating a theme, let's say Under the Sea, I cannot have the same things. I can't have the same flow. I'll have to change the flow of the class or even the activity. So that is a big challenge, I would say.
Yeah, so basically what keeps me motivated is I love being around such kids. My patience level helps me to, be calm at the class because there are all different kinds of people who would not sit whenever I'm showing a song or, doing an action. They would just run around. It distracts me at times, but I have to keep my cool and calm that they are kids at the end of the day. They are going to do whatever is going to distract them and they get distracted very quickly. So basically, you have to be just smiling with them and that's all about the class. Yeah.
What keeps me going is I think I learn a lot from them. All kids are different. So it's always nice that, I want to do things every time in a new manner, catering to individually child. Like if a child is behaving in a certain way, I'll plan that activity. And thankfully, we all are in such a field that we can do so many things for them.
Yeah.
So I love it when that challenge comes. I love it when I tend to innovate. I tend to introduce newer things to them. And when you see that it's working so well with them, it's always nice to keep going in that. So I think in this question, it's them who keeps me going. Because every time it's a challenge and it's
When they
always
feel
nice.
happy coming to your class, that keeps you going.
It
and it's
just
all worth it.
doesn't make things so monotonous because every child will display different sense of behavior and you have to cater to them as per their requirements. So it's always nice. Yeah.
Each day is new.
Yes.
And for me, get asked a lot. I have 2 kids, and yet I don't mind spending so much time with kids and doing kids activities. It actually refreshes me.
Exactly,
understand.
because you like being with them. Yes.
You actually like me. I look forward to it. So whenever the class starts, the whole 5 minutes, I have to shut them down after a point because they have so much to talk to us, and each person has to reveal so many things that they've been through the week or through the day. It's very refreshing, and you like being around them.
So I'm with you all there. That I haven't had quite as much experience with children, but we did a short summer workshop here at Sunshine, which I took myself for 15 days.
Yeah.
And I think I'll remember that batch's children's name for the rest of my life because it is the first time that
Yeah,
I interacted with them. And it was the most rewarding thing I've ever done. Forget restaurants, forget Sunshine Lab. There is nothing like working
Being with kids,
children
yeah,
and
yes.
seeing those smiles and seeing them learning.
Yeah, learning
Learn
so
and
well.
I feel as and when they grow, like we cater to till 6-7 years only. So now that child is 9-year-old. When you see them, you just feel, oh my god, that child was with me since when that child was 3-4-year-old.
Smile on your face when they still remember
Yeah,
you.
Yeah.
like you
So
meet
big.
them at the airports or the restaurants, and then they come running. Oh, Mansi ma'am. So I think it's them who keeps
Yeah.
us going. And it's
The
so
whole
it's,
motivation.
it's not us who's doing that thing.
You feel so motivated, and when so basically I cater to a very young age group from 6 months. So all the parents just message me saying you were my child's first teacher. That makes me feel so yeah. That makes me feel so good.
Yeah.
That yeah.
So your certificate is in for like
Yeah. So
Yeah.
and
They gauge us. It's not like anybody else does that.
And after the program, usually I give them certificates. So they always say this is the first certificate ever my child has, got, and it will be always in our memory. So
So listening to all this, honestly, this entire podcast, I think this is the reason why we chose to do this also. If you see your enthusiasm, I think there's nothing more that you would hope for your children to experience, right? All of you are so enthusiastic about what you do. Now that's what your child deserves, right? To learn from people like you. And honestly, it's great what you all do. And on that note, I would like to thank you all for coming here. I would like to thank you all for taking the time, and how many ever people learn and absorb from this as to how extracurriculars help in all round development of children. I think this entire effort has been worthwhile. So thank you, Mansi.
thank you, Riddhi,
Thank
for
you.
having us as well.
Yeah, thank you all
Yeah.
for coming.